A man in Ohio bought a gas station for $800,000. Within the first year, his fuel sales lost him money. Not once, not on a bad week, on most days. And yet, 12 months later, he was clearing more personal income than most corporate managers in his town. If selling gasoline was losing him money, where was that income actually coming from? Stay with this, because the answer is not what most people assume. Call him Dave. Dave didn't build his station from nothing. He bought an existing one, already wearing a well-known fuel brand on the sign. That single choice would define almost every dollar he made or lost for the next 5 years, and he wouldn't fully understand why until his first tax season.
Here's what nobody told Dave before he signed. That logo above his pumps wasn't free. Branded stations pay the fuel company for the right to use their name, and in exchange, they're often locked into buying fuel from that same supplier at prices Dave doesn't set and can't negotiate. Wholesale prices shift by the hour. Dave's selling price barely keeps up. On his worst weeks, a sudden price spike meant he was legally selling gas for less than he paid for it, just to stay competitive with the station across the street. So why didn't Dave just quit selling fuel altogether? Because fuel was never the product he was actually selling. It was the reason strangers pulled into his parking lot in the first place.
Every car that stopped for gas walked past a cooler of drinks, a rack of snacks, and a coffee machine. And that's where the real math started working in Dave's favor. A candy bar that cost him under $1 sold for $2. A fountain drink, almost pure profit. Industry estimates suggest convenience store margins can run well above 50%, compared to a fuel margin that on a good day might land somewhere between 5 and 15 cents a gallon. Dave wasn't running a fuel station with a snack shop attached. He was running a snack shop that used fuel as free advertising. But here's the part that surprised even Dave. The store alone wasn't enough either. His slowest month came right after a competitor opened 2 blocks away, undercutting his fuel price by 3 cents a gallon. Customers didn't just buy less gas from Dave, they stopped walking into his store completely because they weren't stopping at all. That's when Dave learned the uncomfortable truth about this business. He wasn't really competing on gasoline. He was competing on habit, on which station people default to without thinking. The costs Dave didn't see coming almost broke him early. Underground fuel tanks, the ones buried beneath his own parking lot, are estimated to cost well over $100,000 to replace. And if one ever leaks, the environmental cleanup can run into the hundreds of thousands, sometimes enough to end the business entirely. Add insurance built around fire and fuel risk, card processing fees clipping every single sale, and a staff that has to be paid whether it's 3 in the afternoon or 3 in the morning. None of that shows up in the glossy version of this business people imagine before they buy in. So how did Dave end up ahead? Location did most of the heavy lifting. His station sat near a highway exit, which meant a constant stream of drivers who weren't comparing prices, just looking for the next available pump. Estimates suggest a well-placed station with a strong convenience store can bring in an owner's income somewhere between $50,000 and $200,000 a year, though plenty in quieter areas barely clear enough to justify the hours. Dave landed closer to the higher end, not because he sold more gas, but because he stocked his shelves like a man who understood what people actually buy at 11 at night.
The owners who fail in this business almost always make the same mistake Dave nearly made. They buy the station expecting the pumps to carry them, and when fuel margins collapse, the way they always eventually do, they start cutting corners on the store instead. Dirty coffee machines, empty shelves, understaffed counters at exactly the hours people need something fast. That's the moment loyal customers quietly start driving somewhere else, and they rarely come back. So what actually makes a gas station valuable? It was never the fuel. It was never even really the store. It was the fact that thousands of people a month had a reason to stop, even for 90 seconds, close enough for Dave to sell them something else entirely. The gasoline was just the excuse to get them out of their car. And maybe that's true of more businesses than anyone wants to admit. The thing that gets people through the door is rarely the thing that pays the bills.